I never thought I'd pull the trigger on my own flesh and blood. But when my brother leaned across the table at Dad's 65th birthday dinner, his breath hot with bourbon and lies, and whispered, "Pack your bags. Sage, you're done here," I knew the charade was over. The room smelled like overcooked roast and regret, Mom's crystal glasses clinking like accusations in the silence that followed. In that split second, as the morphine haze lifted from Dad's eyes just enough for him to murmur my name, I decided revenge wasn't just a word anymore. It was the only inheritance worth claiming. It started 6 months earlier, in the sterile hum of a Chicago high-rise clinic, where desperation meets dollar signs. I'd always been the black sheep of the Harlan family, Sage Harlan, the artist's daughter who traded Wall Street dreams for paint-splattered lofts in Wicker Park, while my brother, Ethan, climbed the corporate ladder like it was greased with our old man's blood money. Dad, Victor Harlan, built Harlan Pharma from nothing, a bootstrap story of pills that numbed America's aches and pains. But success like that? It doesn't come without skeletons rattling in the boardroom closets. Ethan was the golden boy, 20 years my senior, the one Dad groomed to take over. Me? I was the afterthought, born late to a second wife who bolted when the chemo bills piled up. Still, Dad and I had our bond, late nights in his study, him puffing cigars while I sketched his weathered face, talking about the real cost of those opioids flooding the streets. "Family first, Sage," he'd say, his voice gravelly from years of shouting down regulators. "Everything else is just noise." But noise it was. Ethan started visiting more after Dad's mysterious fatigue set in. Doctor visits turned into hushed consultations with specialists Ethan knew from his pharma network. Blood work showed nothing, tox screens clean, MRIs pristine. Just old age, they said. Bullshit. I saw the tremors in Dad's hands, the way his eyes glazed over mid-sentence, like he'd been dipped in fog. And Ethan? He was always there, hovering like a vulture in a Brooks Brothers suit, suggesting power of attorney, whispering about mercy and letting go. I confronted him once, in the kitchen of our family estate on Lake Michigan shore. Rain lashed the windows like it does in those noir films Dad loved. "You're poisoning him," I accused, my voice barely above a whisper. Ethan's laugh was a scalpel, cold, precise. "Paranoia doesn't suit you, little sis. Stick to your canvases." He clapped my shoulder, too hard, and walked out, leaving me with the echo of his cologne and a gnawing certainty that he was burying secrets deeper than Dad's foundation. That's when I found the clinic. Tucked in a nondescript loop building, NeuroSync promised empathy immersion therapy, a cutting-edge neural swap, swapping consciousnesses for hours to walk in another's shoes. Officially, it was for couples counseling, PTSD vets reliving traumas from a safe distance. Unofficially, the dark web forums buzzed with whispers, corporate espionage, revenge fantasies made flesh. For $50,000, every cent from my last gallery sale, I booked a session. Not with some stranger, but with Ethan. I'd slip into his skin, see what he hid when the lights went out. The procedure was a violation in itself. Strapped to adjacent pods, electrodes kissing our temples like lovers' bites, the anesthesiologist's voice droned. "You'll feel a pull, then nothing. Wake up as them." My heart hammered as the machine whirred, a vortex sucking me under. "Last thought for you, Dad." I woke up in Ethan's body, tall, broad-shouldered, the ache of a hangover pulsing behind his eyes. The clinic room spun, monitors beeping my new vitals. across from me, in my slight frame,
sat me.
No, Ethan. Blinking furiously, his borrowed lips curling in confusion. What the fuck?
Sage.
His voice, my voice, cracked with rage. The text separated us quick. NDAs thicker than the fog in Dad's gaze. 48 hours max, they warned. Then swap back. No extensions. But I wasn't going back. Not yet. Ethan stormed out in my body, muttering about lawsuits, while I, in his shell, hailed a cab to his Gold Coast penthouse. The city blurred past, Lakeshore Drive's glittering towers mocking the rot beneath. Ethan's life was a facade of excess. Marble counters, a fridge stocked with craft IPAs and kale smoothies for the Instagram crowd. His phone buzzed nonstop, board members, mistresses, a dealer named Rico whose text screamed, shipment ready. I scrolled deeper, heart sinking. Encrypted folders, Harlan Pharma memos on cost-saving measures, off-books trials for a new sedative, Zephyrin. Dad's signature on approvals he'd never seen, forged in Ethan's meticulous hand. Deeper still, emails to a crooked doc.
Dr.
Harlan Voss, our uncle. For Christ's sake, discussing dosage calibration for familial testing. Attachments, lab reports with Dad's name. Spiked with a neurotoxin that mimicked dementia. Slow poison. Untraceable. Ethan's plan? Weaken Dad just enough to trigger a natural decline. Then swoop in as savior CEO. Selling the company to big pharma vultures for billions.
Me?
I'd be the unstable artist scapegoat, painted as the jealous daughter who overdosed him in a grief-fueled haze. Rage boiled in this borrowed chest, hot and unfamiliar. Ethan Harlan, paced the penthouse, fists clenched. But power like his? It whispered temptations. A mirror caught my reflection, his chiseled jaw, the Rolex glinting like a noose. For a moment, I saw it. Why he did it. The empire Dad dangled, always just out of reach for the adopted son with daddy issues. Ethan wasn't blood, Mom's fling during Dad's first divorce. A secret buried under buyouts and boarding schools. The betrayal cut deeper. He'd make me the fall guy. The daughter who snapped. I needed proof. Hard evidence, not digital ghosts. Ethan's calendar pinged. Dinner with Uncle Voss at the Gauge. That upscale joint in the Loop where deals died in steak juices. I suited up, his Armani fitting like guilt, and headed out, the weight of his wallet a reminder of stolen lives. The restaurant hummed with the elite, suits barking into phones, wine flowing like alibis. Voss waited in a corner booth, silver hair slicked, eyes like accounting ledgers. Ethan, you look off, he said, sipping scotch. I forced a grin, Ethan's charm slipping on like a mask. Long week. Zephyrin trials, any updates? He leaned in, voice low. Your father's responding well. Another month, and we'll have the data to push FDA fast track. But the girl's sniffing around.
Sage.
Thinks you're the devil. I laughed. Bitter. Let her. She's got no proof, but inside, I seethed. Voss detailed it all. The toxin sourced from Eastern European labs, funneled through shell core Ethan controlled. Dad's mistake, approving a faulty batch years ago that killed hundreds in the streets, now twisted into Ethan's leverage. He took the fall for you. Boy, Voss sneered. Push that recall through. Tank stock to save your ass. Now we fix it. Clean slate. The meal dragged. Each bite ash. I excused myself to the restroom, locking the stall to puke up the lies. Splashing water on his face, I stared down the man who'd orphaned me twice. Not anymore. Back at the table, I palmed Voss's phone while he flagged the waiter. Unlocked with Ethan's print, mine now. Snaps, shipment manifests. Dad's medlogs laced with timestamps. Jackpot. But Ethan, in my body, wasn't idle. My phone, in his pocket, lit up as I cabbed back, voicemails from me, slurred and frantic. You bitch. What did you do? Get out of my head. He'd figured it. Pieced the clinic puzzle. A text followed. Swap back now. Or I burn it all. Your precious dad first. Panic clawed. The 48 hours ticked, 30 left. I barricaded in the penthouse, forwarding Voss's files to a burner email. Then to my lawyer, a pitbull named Lena who'd handled my custody scraps as a kid. Encrypt and hold, I typed. If I don't check in by dawn, release to the Sun-Times. Sleep evaded this body, wired on adrenaline and whatever performance enhancers Ethan popped. Dawn broke gray over the lake. And the call came, clinic security. MS. Harlan, your brother's demanding extraction.
He's
unstable. I met them at a back alley entrance. Ethan's bulk dwarfing the techs. Strapped down again. The pull reversed slower this time, like ripping Velcro from skin. Back in my own skin, petite, scarred from a studio fire, I gasped, the world tilting. Ethan, wild-eyed in his pod, lunged as they wheeled him away. You saw nothing, he snarled. But I had. Everything.
The swap bought me time.
But not trust. Ethan circled like a shark, ramping up the charm offensive. Family dinners turned interrogations, his eyes probing for cracks.
Mom,
oblivious in her Valium haze, cooed over Dad's good days, unaware her son was scripting the bad ones. I played along, sketching portraits that hid blueprints, timelines of doses, cross-referenced with Ethan's travelogues. Controversy brewed when I hacked his assistant, Ethical Gray, but fuck ethics. She spilled Ethan's side hustle, laundering Zephyrin profits through offshore trusts. Kids in the Rust Belt dropping like flies from street cuts. Dad's Psy Lamb, that faulty batch? It was Ethan's trial balloon. Dad covering to protect the family name. Betrayal layered on betrayal. My brother, the prodigal, poisoning the well he drank from. Decisions gnawed at me. Leak early, risk dismissal as the crazy artist? Or wait, let the toxin finish its work? Dad's 65th birthday loomed. A spectacle Ethan orchestrated. Black tie at the estate. Donors and execs toasting the legacy. I saw the trap. Announce Dad's retirement. Sign over control mid-toast.
Me?
Vanished. Framed as the stressor who pushed him over.
Ishoskel.
Slipped a counteragent, neutralizer I'd sourced from a rogue chemist, into Dad's 4-drip that week. Subtle. Deniable. His eyes cleared fractionally. Enough to nod at my whispers. Ethan's killing you.
Dad.
For the company. His grip tightened. Papery but fierce. End it.
Sage.
Whatever it takes. The night arrived. Wind howling off the lake like banshees. Guests milled. Voss smirking in tweed. Ethan's fiancé, a Botoxed ladder climber, air-kissing cheeks. The cake rolled out. Candles flickering like fuses. Dad at the head. Frail but present. Mom beaming. Ethan rose. glass raised. To Victor Harlan, the man who built empires. And to new beginnings. Then he turned to me, voice silk over steel.
Sage.
A word pulled me aside, into the study where Dad and I once bonded. Door clicked shut. Pack your bags.
Tonight.
You're unraveling. Sis, accusing family of.
What?
Murder? The boards had enough. Dad's stepping down. You'll get your payout. But stay the hell away. His hand on my arm bruising. The morphine vial peeked from his pocket. Fresh load for post-party rest. I wrenched free. Voice steady. Or what? You finished the job? I know.
Ethan.
The swap. The files. Voss's texts. All of it. His face drained, then twisted, pure venom. You think you're clever? That therapy bullshit? I own that clinic now. One call, and you're the junkie who dosed Dad herself. Your sketches? Forged as suicide notes. The bluff hit, but I held. Guests' laughter filtered through, oblivious. Try it. Lena's got the drop. Front page. Pharma air poisons patriarch for billions. He lunged then. Hands at my throat, not to kill, but warn. Air starved. Vision spotting. But Dad's door creaked him. Shuffling in. Eyes sharp for the first time in months. Ethan, he rasped. Let her go. Ethan froze. Released. The room spun tableau, sons versus daughter. Empire crumbling.
Dad.
She's lying. Dad's hand rose. Trembling but true. I know. The ledgers. Your mother's letters. You're not mine.
Boy.
Never were. Twist like a gut punch. Ethan's adoption, known to Dad. Hidden from us. The Psy lamb Dad shouldered, covering Ethan's early embezzlement. A teen theft that spiraled. Love. Twisted into enabling. Ethan crumpled, whispering, I did it for us. For the family you promised. Dad's eyes met mine, apology. Absolution. For Sage, he corrected. Always. Sirens wailed distant, my anonymous tip to CPD. Timed, perfect. Boss dragged out in cuffs. Files spilling digital blood. Ethan fought, roaring denials. But the swap's echo lingered. I'd worn his skin. Felt his fractures. Mercy flickered therapy. Not bars, but no. He'd chosen poison. I chose justice. As they hauled him away, Dad leaned on me, breath ragged. Worth it, he murmured. I nodded, throat raw. Every scar. The empire fractured, Harlan Pharma gutted, reformed under watchdogs.
Me?
I inherited the study. Canvases now contracts for ethical meds. But nights, lake winds whisper doubts. Was exposure revenge? Or just another betrayal? Ethan rots in Supermax. Writing letters I burn unread. Dad rallies. Slow. But the fog's shadow lingers. Family? A word we redefine. One bitter pill at a time. Yet in the quiet, I wonder if I'd stayed swapped. Worn his life like a second skin. Would the poison have tasted sweeter? Some endings aren't happy or tragic, just American as apple pie and arsenic. The fallout hit like a Midwest blizzard, swift, blinding, burying everything under white lies and legal snow. 2 weeks post-birthday, and the headline screamed, Pharma Scion's poison plot, inside the Harlan betrayal. Chicago Trib front page. My anonymous leak morphing into a feeding frenzy. Pundits on CNN dissected it like a cadaver. Was Ethan a monster? Or a product of cutthroat capitalism? Social media lit up, Harlan Air trending. Memes of me as the vengeful avenger in paint-smeared overalls. Sage Harlan. Artist or assassin? One quipped. Photoshopping my face on a Da Vinci dame with a syringe. I holed up in the estate. Dad's nurse is now mine. Round the clock. Courtesy of the board scrambling to salvage stock. Mom? She vanished to Palm Springs. Processing with a therapist who billed like a surgeon. The calls from reporters piled up. I let them ring. Sketching instead. Harsh lines of Ethan's face mid-lunge. Dad's frail form a ghost in graphite. Art was my armor. Always had been. But even that cracked when Lena called. Voss flipped. Testifying for immunity. Says Ethan's been at it since 18, targeting competitors' execs too. Bodies in the basement. Sage. My stomach flipped. Not just Dad, rivals dosed into early graves, chalked up to stress-induced heart attacks. Ethan's moxie was a madness. It was method. Power's ultimate high. Playing God with a dropper. I drove to the jail that afternoon. Lake shore iced over. Wipers slapping rhythm like accusations. Cook County, concrete jungle where suits turn to stripes. Ethan in visitor's glass. Orange jumpsuit clashing with his pallor. No swagger now, just hollow eyes. The swap's violation echoing back. You happy? He spat. Voice tinny through the speaker. Ruined us. For what? A pat on the head from Vic. I leaned in, breath fogging the divide. For truth. You hid who you were, stole Dad's name. His health. Mine. He laughed.
Cracked.
Truth? You're the thief.
Sage.
Slipped into my head. Rifled my soul like a purse. Felt it. Didn't you? The fear. The nothing. That's why you did it, not for him. For the thrill. His words hooked deep. In his skin. I'd glimpsed fractures. Boarding school beatings. Mom's abandonment letters. Dad's, you're Harlan enough, a lie he swallowed whole. Pity curdled, controversial.
Yeah.
Forgiving the poisoner?
But no.
Thrill's yours.
Ethan.
Dosing innocence for a corner office. He pressed the glass. Veins bulging. Innocence? Vic greenlit the first wave. Oxy knockoffs that hooked Appalachia. He covered my ass on that batch. Yeah. But whose idea? Family sin.
Sage.
I just finished the job. The guard tapped, time up. I stood. Legs lead. Rot with it, I said. But as the door buzzed, he called. Check the safe. Estate library. Last gift from Dad. Curiosity's a bitch. Back home. Twilight bleeding purple across the snow. I pried the wall safe. Combo Dad's birthday. Ironic. Inside, a thumb drive. Yellowed envelope. Drive first, videos. Grainy, Ethan as teen. Hunched over ledgers in Dad's office. Skimming funds for Mom's gambling debts. Dad walking in. Not rage, but resignation. We'll fix this, son. Harlan Way, quiet. Envelope, Mom's handwriting. To Dad. Victor's mistake was yours too. The boy isn't blood, but raise him right, or it'll haunt. Postscript, Sage knows nothing, keep it that way. Layers peeled like onion skin. Tears stinging. Dad's betrayal wasn't cover, it was complicity. Enabled Ethan's hunger. Let it fester.
Me?
Kept in dark. The pure air. Rage redirected, not at Ethan alone, but the patriarch who'd built on bones. Sleep dodged me that night, estate creaking like confessions. Dawn brought cops, not for me, but boss's raid. Feds swarmed the pharma HQ, seizing servers. I watched from the porch, coffee bitter, as suits in windbreakers carted boxes. One agent lingered. MS. Harlan, off record. Your tip saved lives. But Ethan's talking plea. Names higher-ups. You involved. I shook my head. Lied smooth. Involved? I danced on the edge, swap illegal as hell. Counteragent a felony flirt. Controversial choice. Expose partial. Shield dad's legacy? Or torch it all? Let the empire ash? I chose fire.
Partial.
Leaked the drive anonymously, dad's enabling exposed. But framed as tragic oversight, not malice. Pundits raged. Hero or hypocrite. Forums lit. Sages whitewash, protecting the poison peddlers. Tension coiled tighter. Dad rallied. Physical therapy turning slurs to sentences. Proud. Kiddo, he wheezed one afternoon. Us in the study. Sunlight slicing dust motes. His hand on mine steady now. You chose right. Right? I echoed. Voice sharp. You let him. Covered his thefts. His poisons. For family. His eyes dimmed. Old fog creeping. Thought it made us stronger. Forged in fire.
Pause. Cough.
Your fire's different. Cleaner.
Cleaner? Full.
Guilt gnawed my swap. A violation mirroring his. I'd worn Ethan's fears. Felt the void he dosed to fill. Mercy whispered. Testify for leniency? Let him rot in therapy. Unpack the adoption, abandonment? But no, the victims' faces, rust-belt ghosts, demanded chains. Climax brewed at the shareholder meet. A month out. Estate ballroom. Chandeliers dripping like IVs. I was named interim CEO, provisional, till Dad stabilized. Ethan zoomed from jail. Part of the transparency push. Screen flickered. He looked smaller, shackled off frame. To renewal, he toasted, voice flat. Shareholders murmured, some pity, most profit-eyed. Then Voss's testimony dropped. Live-streamed, Ethan's network. Bribes to FDA moles. Bodies traced to 3 overdoses. Gasps rippled. I stood, podium cool under palms. Harlan Pharma ends here, I said. No more shadows. Audits. Ethics board me leading. Ethan's feed crackled. Liar, he barked. She swapped, invaded me. Proof in the clinic logs. Pandemonium. Shares tanked live. Phones buzzing. Security cut him. But damage bloomed. Lawsuits from Ethan's camp. Claiming neural assault.
Me?
Painted as the mad scientist's daughter. Twist on the vengeful trope. I fled to the loft that night. Wicker Park's Greta bomb. Canvas up. Paints slashing, red for rage. Black for the void. Lena called. Feds want your swap depot. Deny. Decision point. Controversial as hell.
Admit.
Risk charges. Body invasion, a gray area crime. Ethics board circling.
Deny.
Perjure. Let Ethan's rants die as jailhouse halls. I chose truth. Partial. Therapy session gone wrong. He consented. Lies layered. But it stuck. Clinic sued into silence. NDAs ironclad. Dad passed a week later. Quiet in sleep, no poison. Just age's toll. Funeral pact, rivals sniffing weakness, allies feigning grief. Ethan's empty pew gaped like accusation. Eulogy mine, Victor Harlan built walls to protect us. I tear them down, off mic. To his stone. Your secrets died with you. But they didn't. Postscript twist. Ethan's letters resumed. Smuggled via a guard. Not rage, please. Felt you and me.
Sage.
The swap.
It fixed something.
Visit. I burn most. But one lingered. DNA test. Enclosed. Not his son. But yours? Half-sister blood. Mom's secret affair, yours too. World inverted. Ethan. Not just adopted, my brother by another father. Mom's web of flings tangling us closer. Betrayal's echo. Dad knew. Raised us anyway. Te Shai Lum. Covering her chaos. Not his. Debate raged in me. Kin or killer? I drove to Supermax. Glass between again. Why tell? His smile. Weary. Truth's the real poison. Or the cure. I walked out. Air crisp with autumn bite. Empire mine now, reformed. Wary. But nights. The swap haunts, his fears mine. My rage his. Revenge? A mirror. Cracking both ways.
Happy ending?
If dismantling dynasties counts. Tragic? If blood's thicker than antidote. Chicago hums on. Pills peddled in shadows.
Me?
I paint the gray. One stroke at a time. Winter clamped Chicago like a vice. Snowplows growling through the night as I rebuilt from the rubble. Harlan Pharma, now Sage Therapeutics. Rebranded over boardroom brawls, focused on clean pain management, non-addictive neural blockers, VR therapy for chronic hurt. Ironic, given my own ghosts. Gallery shows sold out. My Harlan series fetching six figures, dark abstracts of fractured faces. Critics calling it visceral catharsis. Money flowed.
But sleep?
That was currency I bankrupted. Ethan's revelation festered like an untreated wound. Half-brother? Mom's letters. Unearthed in Dad's attic. Painted her as a hurricane. Affairs with executives. Artists. Anyone who promised escape from Victor's empire grind. The late bloom. Ethan. The early storm. Dad swallowed it all. Forging us in his image flawed.
Fierce.
Controversy swirled. Should I visit? Offer the therapy, he mocked? Or let the system grind him? Justice's slow mill? Paparazzi tailed me now. Vultures in Subarus snapping at stoplights. One ambushed at a foundation gala. Me in emerald silk. Toasting addiction recovery. Sage. Ethan's appealing. Says you orchestrated the swap for blackmail. Your response. Flashbulbs popped like gunfire. I smiled.
Steal.
Family's complicated. Healing's harder. Inside. Tension coiled, his appeal hinged on clinic logs. Subpoenaed. If they cracked the NDA. My therapy became trespass, felony neural violation. Headlines screaming, heiress mind rapes brother for revenge. Lena prepped war. Plausible deniability. You were distraught. Dad's decline. Session mutual. But doubt gnawed. The swap wasn't just intel, it was intimacy unwanted. His loneliness seeping into my dreams. Waking sweat-soaked. His voice echoing. Felt you and me. Decision loomed. Testify at his hearing. Or ghost. Controversial either way, sister's mercy. Or victim salt. I chose the stand. Lake County Courthouse, a tomb of oak and echoes. Spring thaw outside. Mud sucking at heels, inside. Air stale with old sins. Ethan shackled. Suit ill-fit. Eyes locking mine across the room. Judge, a grizzled vet named Kowalski, banged gavel. MS. Harlan, your relationship to the defendant. Brother, I said, voice steady. Complicated. Prosecution painted him monster. Tuck's timelines. Victim autopsies. Voss's ledger of payoffs. Defense countered. Product of trauma. Adopted, no. Wait. Twist dropped. Ethan's lawyer. Slick as oil. Flashed the DNA. Not adopted. Illegitimate. Victor Harlan's complicity bred this. Gallery gasped. Kowalski leaned. Relevance. MS. Harlan knew or should. The swap, not therapy, but reconnaissance. She invaded to steal secrets. Frame him. Objection overruled. My turn. I sought truth. Dad dying. Ethan hovering. The session? Desperation. What I found.
Paused.
Breath caught. Poison. For power. Cross-exam gutted. You felt his pain.
Didn't you?
The rejection. Yet you expose. Not heal. I met Ethan's gaze, pleading. Broken. Healings earned. Not dosed. Verdict, life. No parole. Zephyrin murders pinned. Conspiracy racketeering. As they let him out, he mouthed, thank you. Thank you? For chains? Rage flared, you am. The dark underbelly. I'd become him. Wielding knowledge like toxin. Back at the loft. I smashed a canvas. Shards drawing blood. Cleansing. Controversial. Self-harm as art?
Nah.
Just human. Summer scorched in. Heat waves warping the lake. Sage Therapeutics thrived. FDA nods on new trials. But secrets bubbled. Whistleblower from Ethan's old team. Dropping a drive at my door. Contents? Mom's full confessions. Affair with Ethan's bio dad. A rival exec dad ruined.
Thế sai lầm bác.
Sabotage by that ghost. Ethan framed as teen. Dad covering to protect. Her. Twist reversed. Ethan wasn't the villain soul. He was pawn in Mom's chess. Dose to avenge her lost love. Letters to him. Hidden. Your father's ruin was Victor's jealousy. Make him pay.
My boy.
Horror hollowed me. Betrayal's hydra, heads multiplying. I confronted her in Palm Springs. Estate like a mirage of palms and pools. She sipped rose. Botox smooth. Sage. Darling. Water under. Poison, I snapped. You groomed him. For what? Spite. Her laugh tinkled.
Glass. Love.
Your father stole everything, my youth. My fire.
Ethan?
My fire returned. I left shaking. Tape recording her evidence. Or entrapment. Controversial. Expose Mom. Shatter the matriarch myth? Or bury. Let her fade in sun-bleached denial? Climax crested at the annual Harlan Therapeutics Gala. Yacht on the lake. Stars pricking Blackwater. Donors aboard. Champagne flutes clinking. Mom arrived late. Diamonds flashing. I cornered her on deck. Wind whipping.
Confess.
Or I do. Her eyes cold mirrors. To who? Ghosts? Ethan's locked. Victor's dust. You're the Empire now. Don't be petty. Petty? The yacht rocked. Nausea rising. Guests laughed below. Up here. Tension snapped. I hit play, her voice tinny. Make him pay. She lunged for the phone, nails raking. We grappled, heels slipping on wet teak, controversial brink. Murder by misstep? A donor burst up. Ladies pulled us apart. Mom fled to the rail, retching pretense. I pocketed the device. Heart thunder. That night, leak strategic, audio to select press, framed as family reckoning. Mom vanished again. Europe, whispers said. Assets frozen. No charges, statute cold. But the debate ignited. Was I avenger or abuser, exposing elders for personal purge? Dad's study called me home. Autumn leaves skittering. I found his journal. Final entries, sage. If reading this, I failed. Ethan, my choice.
Flawed.
Love him through it. You, burn bright. Tears blurred ink. Failed, we'd all, betrayals chained. Yet in the ash. Choice, forgive the dead. Reform the living. Ethan's last letter arrived. Postmarked Supermax.
Heard about Mom.
Closure? Visit still open. I did. Fall crisp. Glass between. Him thinner. Tattoo creeping neural map. Ironic. Why? I asked. Cycle ends with us. Half-blood. Full kin. Swap taught me. We're all swapped. Souls in wrong skins. Words hung. Mercy decision. Advocate parole? Risk victim's ire? Or let time dose justice? I chose gray. Therapy fund. Anonymous. Controversial. Funding the poisoner's piece? Forums flamed. Sage's soft spot. Blood over justice? Winter wheeled back. Snow fresh. Loft aglow with new work. Mirrors. Infinite regressions. Empire steady.
But me?
Unmoored. Painting voids. The cycle spun on. Relentless as the L train rattling past my window. A steel heartbeat to Chicago's chaos. A year post-verdict. And Sage Therapeutics stood Phoenix. Annual reports touting ethical innovation. Stock climbing on green waves. Galas fond. I keynote TEDx. Voice steady. Pain isn't profit. It's human. Applause thundered. But backstage. Mirrors lied. Eyes shadowed. The swap's phantom itch under scalp. Ethan's therapy fund? It worked. Quiet. Letters evolved. Not pleas, but sketches crude. His hand untrained. Faces like mine. Fractured light. Learned from you, one noted. Art heals what pills can't. Kinship crept. Controversial. Rehabbing the Reaper? Victims groups picketed my offices. No mercy for murderers. Signs bled red. Chants echoing my doubts. Mom? Europe swallowed her. Tabloids trailing scandals, yacht flings, casino binges. No contact. Her confession tape? Locked in a vault. Lena's advice. Leverage. Not litmus. But power's poison too, holding her ruin like a loaded syringe. Decision brewed. Release full. Damn the dynasty? Or wield silent. Shield the brand? Twist simmered in spring. Bloom deceptive. Clinic call, Neurosync. Rebranded. CEO's voice oily. MS. Harlan. Regarding your
Session.
log subpoenaed again. Eth's appeal. We could bury. For a donation. Blackmail's familiar tang. I hung up. Drove to the Loop. Rain sheeting glass. Their office gleamed sterile. Pods humming ghosts. CEO Dr. Ellis. Weasel in white smiled. Progress? No. Blackmail. I corrected. Extradition threat. Your off-book swaps. Corporate espionage clients, senators, CEOs. I have names. His smile cracked. Mutual destruction. I leaned. Ethan's echo in my steel. Try me. Walked out with a drive, full logs. Not just ours. Hundreds swapped. Rivals mind-fucked for secrets. Spouses probed for affairs. Clinic empire. Darker than pharma. Home. I decrypted. My session. Time-stamped consent forged. Ethan's pre-sign. Mine coerced post. Twist inverted. He planned it. Baited me with therapy whispers. Swapped to plant false memories. Frame me as aggressor. His letters? Manipulation. Softening for appeal. Rage reborn.
Uamos midnight oil.
Betrayal's apex. He'd warned me. Felt my grief. Twisted it into his noose. Victims now included, my mind. Invaded twice. Climax crashed at the appeal hearing. Federal court packed, press. Protesters. Ethan's supporters, paid plants. I took the stand unbidden. Subpoena my own noose. Judge knew. Sharp-eyed Ruiz eyed me. MS. Harlan. New evidence. I slotted the drive. Screen blooming files. Not just mine. His. The swap he orchestrated. Forged consent. To discredit me. Gallery hushed. Ethan's face ashen. Lawyer scrambling. Cross. Conspiracy theory. Your honor. The artist's paranoia. But logs spoke. Timestamps. IP's tracing to his penthouse pre-swap. Ellis testified next. Crumbling under perjury lights. Harlan booked duel.
But.
Alterations. Verdict swift. Appeal denied. Contempt added. Ethan lunged at rail. Roaring. You stole my soul first. Guards swarmed. Chaos. Flashes popping. Outside. Rain lashed. Catharsis wet. Protesters parted. One sign flipped. Justice for all. But victory hollow. The swap's scar mutual. Souls scarred. Post-hearing. Mom surfaced. Email. Terse. Heard. End it. For her. Attachment. Suicide note draft. Her hand. The boy was my mistake. You. Victor's grace. Forgive. Debates denouement. Controversial close. Expose her end. Mercy kill the myth? Or delete? Let silence dose? I chose deletion. Not forgiveness, oblivion. Her life's poison enough. Summer faded to fall. Leaves like confetti on graves. Dad's stone mossed. I left a sketch. Us three. Unfractured. Ethan's letters ceased. Therapy deepened. Or despair. Clinic shuttered. Ellis indicted. Neural ethics law birthed in wake. Harlan act.
Me?
Empire mine. But stewardship. Not throne. Lofts expanded. Collective for addict artists. Paints free.
Nights.
Lake whispers secrets. I listen. No more. Ending? Debatable. Happy in reform. Tragic in toll. Blood thinned.
But binds.
Revenge? A swap we all survive. Scarred but standing. American dream. Poison to palate. One stroke from dusk to dawn. In the end, as snow dusted again, I wondered, whose skin now? Mine. Finally, inked with truths no machine can steal.